For most people, the image of wealth is easy to recognize. A Lamborghini parked outside a mansion, a private jet waiting on a runway, a billionaire founder standing on a stage explaining how they changed the world. We have been trained to believe that wealth looks exciting, that it looks like something nobody has ever seen before. But when you look closer at the fortunes that have survived generations, something unexpected appears. The greatest fortunes are often built in places nobody is paying attention to. Not in glamorous industries, not in businesses designed to impress people, but in businesses so ordinary that most people completely ignore them. Businesses that most people walk past every single day without realizing that someone owns them, and someone is making money from them every single day. Because while millions of people are searching for the next big trend, the wealthy are often doing something much simpler. They are buying necessities. They understand a principle that has remained true throughout history. People may change what they want, but they rarely stop needing what they need. People may stop buying luxury watches. They may delay expensive vacations. They may abandon the latest trend, but they will still create trash. They will still need clean clothes. They will still need places to store their belongings. They will still need transportation, maintenance, repairs, and countless services that keep everyday life functioning. And whoever owns the systems that provide these necessities gets paid again and again and again. This is why some of the most successful investors in history have built wealth through businesses that most people would consider boring. Wayne Huizenga built his fortune from garbage collection before becoming known for companies like Blockbuster and AutoNation. Sam Zell became a billionaire by investing in overlooked real estate assets. Warren Buffett built one of the world's greatest fortunes by owning simple, essential businesses that generate consistent cash flow. Not businesses that sound exciting at dinner parties, businesses that quietly work. Because wealth is often not created by finding something everybody is talking about. Sometimes it is created by finding something everybody ignores. And perhaps that is the greatest irony of modern capitalism. The world celebrates the entrepreneurs chasing attention, while quietly rewarding the people solving ordinary problems. The owner of a small laundromat may never appear on the cover of a magazine. The owner of a storage facility may never become famous online. But behind the scenes, these businesses can create the kind of wealth most people spend their entire lives searching for. So today, we are going to uncover 10 boring businesses that quietly print money. And we will explore not only how they make money, but how ordinary people can enter these industries, build systems, hire people, and turn simple businesses into powerful wealth-generating machines. But stay until the end, because the businesses near the top of this list become increasingly fascinating. And number 1 may be one of the closest examples of a real-life cash machine hiding in plain sight. Let's begin. Number 10. Laundromats. Nobody dreams of owning a laundromat. There are no movies about laundromat owners, no influencers posing beside industrial dryers, and no one grows up imagining rows of washing machines as their path to wealth. But perhaps that is exactly why this business can be so profitable. While millions of people chase glamorous industries, very few pay attention to ordinary businesses that solve everyday problems. And hidden behind this simple service is something investors deeply value: predictable human behavior. No matter what happens in the economy, people still need clean clothes. During recessions, people still do laundry. During economic booms, people still do laundry. Trends change, technology changes, and markets rise and fall, but human necessities remain remarkably consistent. That is why laundromats are considered a recession-resistant business. Many fortunes are not built by predicting the future, but by understanding what is unlikely to change. Laundry is one of those necessities people will continue paying for decades from now. Modern laundromats have also evolved far beyond the old coin-operated model. Many now use digital payments, automated systems, security technology, and remote monitoring. Some owners can track revenue, machine performance, and maintenance directly from their phones. In many cases, the machines themselves become the employees. And this reveals one of the biggest differences between simply earning money and building wealth: ownership of systems. When income depends completely on your time, growth is limited, but systems can continue producing value while you sleep, travel, or focus on other opportunities. This is why investors acquire laundromats. Some buy existing locations from retiring owners, while others build facilities in apartment-heavy neighborhoods where residents need access to laundry services. Some even partner with landlords to create additional revenue streams. Over time, one location can become several. One profitable laundromat can fund another, then another, until a small business becomes a portfolio of income-producing assets, because wealth is rarely created through one extraordinary opportunity. More often, it is built through ordinary systems, repeated consistently over time. That is the hidden lesson of boring businesses. They may never attract attention, but they quietly continue doing what they were designed to do: generate cash flow, again and again and again. But if making money from washing clothes sounds surprising, the next business may be even more unexpected, because millions of people around the world willingly pay every month to store things they no longer use. And that leads us to our next business. Number 9, self-storage units. Human beings have a very strange relationship with possessions. We buy things we do not need, we keep things we no longer use, and perhaps most interesting of all, we struggle to let them go. This simple aspect of human psychology has created an industry worth tens of billions of dollars: self-storage. At first glance, the business sounds almost ridiculous. People paying monthly fees to store old furniture, boxes, clothes, and belongings they may never touch again. And yet, millions of people do exactly that, because life constantly creates demand. People move, families grow, businesses need inventory space, students leave for college, retirees downsize. Divorce, inheritance, relocation, and economic uncertainty all create new customers who need somewhere to keep their belongings. Billionaire investor Sam Zell understood this remarkably well, known as the grave dancer. Because of his ability to invest in undervalued assets, Zell built enormous wealth through practical real estate opportunities that solved everyday problems. And self-storage does exactly that. It solves a problem that is surprisingly emotional. For many people, paying a monthly fee feels easier than making the difficult decision to throw away possessions that hold memories or represent parts of their past. And for investors, this creates something extremely valuable: recurring income. Many customers stay for years. Some continue paying without regularly visiting their units. Unlike traditional residential real estate, self-storage often comes with fewer complications. There are no broken appliances, no leaking kitchens, and fewer of the everyday problems that come with managing homes. Instead, there are rows of secure units quietly generating monthly revenue. Modern storage facilities have also become highly automated. Customers can rent units online, access facilities through electronic systems, and make payments without ever meeting an employee. The owner's role becomes managing the system rather than constantly working inside the business. And perhaps that is one of the biggest lessons in wealth creation. The best opportunities are not always the most exciting ones. Sometimes they are hidden inside ordinary human behavior. Because if people are willing to pay money to store things they rarely use, imagine how much opportunity exists in something every single person creates every day. Trash. Number 8, waste management. Nobody likes talking about garbage, yet garbage has created billionaires. Every home creates it, every restaurant creates it, every office, factory, school, and hospital produces waste, and someone has to collect it, process it, and dispose of it. That simple reality makes waste management one of the most recession-resistant industries in the world. The late billionaire Wayne Huizenga understood this better than almost anyone. Before becoming known for companies like Blockbuster and AutoNation, he built one of America's largest waste management companies. His fortune began with garbage trucks. Think about that. Not software, not social media, not cryptocurrency. Trash. Because while trends come and go, one thing remains constant: human beings never stop producing waste. The industry also has something investors deeply value: high barriers to entry. Building a waste management company requires expensive equipment, licenses, specialized vehicles, relationships with disposal facilities, and long-term contracts. Because entering the industry is difficult, competition is often lower. which can create strong opportunities for established businesses. And waste management goes far beyond ordinary garbage collection. The industry includes construction waste, medical waste, industrial recycling, electronic waste, and specialized disposal services. As environmental regulations continue to expand around the world, new opportunities are emerging for companies that can solve increasingly complex waste problems. The world may become more digital. Technology may continue changing how we live. But one thing is certain, the world will never become waste-free. And that makes waste management one of the quiet industries that continues creating wealth behind the scenes. Because sometimes the biggest opportunities are found in the problems people would rather ignore. And perhaps no business proves this better than the next one. A business where people pay simply because they do not want to walk too far. Number 7. Parking lots. Imagine owning a piece of land, doing almost nothing with it, and still collecting money every single day. That is essentially the parking business. Simple, boring, and surprisingly profitable. Every major city around the world has one problem in common: too many cars and not enough places to park them. This imbalance creates an opportunity because every office worker, shopper, tourist, and event attendee eventually faces the same question: where can I park? And someone owns the answer. Many successful real estate investors quietly accumulate parking assets because of their simplicity. Unlike many businesses that require large teams and constant management, parking lots can operate with relatively little involvement from the owner. Modern technology has made the industry even more efficient. Payments can be automated, license plate recognition systems can manage access, and mobile apps can collect fees without requiring traditional employees. In many cases, the owner is not managing a complicated operation, they simply own the space. And this reveals a recurring theme among wealthy investors. They focus less on owning jobs and more on owning assets. Assets that can continue generating income without demanding constant attention. Parking lots also benefit from something extremely valuable in real estate: scarcity. In busy urban areas, available land becomes increasingly limited. As cities grow and populations increase, the demand for convenient parking often rises with it. The parking income itself can be attractive, but the real wealth may come from the land underneath. Some investors have built fortunes by acquiring strategic pieces of property in growing cities and holding them as those areas become more valuable over time. And this reveals another important lesson about wealth. Sometimes the opportunity is not in the business itself. Sometimes the real value comes from owning the infrastructure that people depend on every day. A parking lot may seem ordinary, but behind its simplicity is a powerful combination of recurring income, limited supply, and valuable real estate. And our next business takes this idea of small automated income streams even further. Because every time someone becomes thirsty or hungry, a small machine quietly collects money. Number 6. Vending machines. At first glance, vending machines seem almost too simple to be a real business. A machine sits in a corner, someone inserts money, a snack falls out, end of transaction. But simplicity can be incredibly powerful, because the best businesses often remove as much friction as possible. People want convenience. They do not want to wait in long lines. They do not want to leave the office to buy a drink. They want instant gratification, and vending machines provide exactly that. This is why they are everywhere: airports, schools, hospitals, hotels, apartment complexes, office buildings, gyms, train stations. A single machine may not seem impressive, but that is how many people underestimate the business. One machine becomes 5, 5 become 20, 20 become 100. Eventually, you are no longer operating vending machines. You are operating a network, a system, a portfolio of small assets producing cash flow. This is remarkably similar to the philosophy of billionaire Warren Buffett. Buffett often speaks about buying assets that continue generating income year after year. And vending machines do exactly that. Modern machines have also become far more sophisticated. Owners can now track inventory remotely, receive notifications when products run low, monitor sales from their phones, and optimize which products sell best. The machine itself becomes the employee. The owner becomes the system manager. And perhaps that is one of the greatest wealth lessons of all. Rich people do not simply work for money, they build systems that work for them. Because every bottle of water sold, every snack purchased, every late-night craving adds another small stream of income. And when enough streams come together, they become a river. But if making money from snacks sounds surprising, the next business may be even stranger. Because some people have built fortunes by helping others fight an enemy that has existed since the beginning of civilization. Number 5. Pest control. No matter how advanced society becomes, there are certain problems that never disappear. One of them is pests. Cockroaches, mosquitoes, termites, rodents, and ants have existed alongside human civilization for thousands of years, and perhaps that is precisely why this business can be so powerful. A restaurant cannot ignore a pest problem. A hotel cannot ignore it. A homeowner certainly cannot ignore termites slowly destroying their property. The problem must be solved, and more importantly, it often returns. This creates something incredibly valuable in business: recurring demand. Unlike many industries that constantly need new customers, pest control companies often operate on subscription models. Monthly visits, quarterly treatments, and annual contracts mean the same customers continue paying again and again. This predictability is exactly what investors love, because predictable cash flow creates stable businesses, and stable businesses are often where long-term wealth is built. Even during economic downturns, people still need pest control. In some situations, the demand becomes even greater. Pests do not care about recessions, inflation, or stock market crashes. Many successful operators begin very small. One vehicle, a few customers. Then slowly they hire technicians, expand into commercial contracts, build teams, and create systems. And eventually, something important happens. They stop doing the work themselves. They begin owning the business. And that transition changes everything. Because there is a significant difference between owning a job and owning a system. One depends entirely on your time. The other can continue generating income even when you are not there. And perhaps that is one of the hidden secrets of wealth. The people who become wealthy are often not the people working the hardest. They are the people building systems that continue working without them. But perhaps one of the most fascinating lessons in business is this: people are often willing to pay repeatedly for things they could technically do themselves. They could wash their own cars. Yet millions choose not to, because convenience is powerful, and businesses built around convenience often become incredibly profitable. Number 4. Car washes. There is something fascinating about businesses built around habits, because habits are predictable, and predictable behavior often creates predictable cash flow. People may delay buying a new car, they may postpone upgrading their phone, but eventually they still want their car to look clean. This simple desire created an industry worth billions, and surprisingly, some of the world's greatest investors have noticed. Billionaire investor Warren Buffett once invested heavily in the car wash industry through his company, recognizing the power of businesses with recurring demand and strong cash generation. Because unlike trendy industries that constantly change, the logic behind car washes is timeless. Cars get dirty. People pay to clean them. The cycle repeats. Modern car washes have become even more attractive because of automation. Machines perform much of the work. Membership models generate recurring revenue. Customers subscribe to monthly plans and return repeatedly. This creates something investors love: predictability. One-time customers are good. Recurring customers are far better. And perhaps the most interesting part of the business is scalability. One location can eventually fund another, then another. Eventually, owners may oversee several sites while managers handle daily operations. The business begins functioning like a system rather than a job. This is a recurring pattern among wealthy entrepreneurs. They seek businesses where systems and assets generate income even when they are not physically present. Because true wealth is not merely earning money. It is building something that continues earning money without constant effort. But if people are willing to pay to clean their cars every month, but perhaps one of the most fascinating businesses in the world is built on an even simpler idea. People are willing to pay for convenience, even when that convenience costs only a few dollars. And when millions of people keep paying those small fees again and again, something extraordinary happens. tiny transactions become enormous fortunes. Because every single day, people need access to one thing, cash. And every time someone uses an ATM, a small fee quietly changes hands. A fee that goes to the owner of the machine. Which brings us to our next business. A business where people literally pay you to access their own money. Number 3. Automated teller machine franchises. The world may be becoming increasingly digital, but cash is far from dead. Millions of people still withdraw money every single day, at restaurants, at bars, at convenience stores, at entertainment venues, and every time someone uses an ATM, someone gets paid. That small transaction fee may seem insignificant, a few dollars here and there, but business history teaches us something important. Small amounts, repeated thousands of times, become very large amounts. This is exactly how ATM businesses work. The machine performs the labor, the owner collects the fees. And perhaps this is one of the simplest examples of asset-based income. A well-placed ATM can process thousands of transactions every year. The secret, however, is location. Because in business, location often determines everything. Busy nightlife districts, tourist areas, casinos, gas stations, shopping centers. These environments can dramatically increase transaction volume. Many entrepreneurs begin with one machine, then acquire another, then another. Over time, they build networks of machines spread across multiple locations. Again, the pattern repeats itself. One asset becomes many assets. One stream of income becomes multiple streams. And gradually, a business emerges. Of course, cash usage may continue declining over the long term. But even that creates an interesting lesson. The best investors are constantly observing how industries evolve. They ask, where is demand increasing? Where is demand declining? Because wealth often comes from adapting before everyone else does. And speaking of adaptation, but perhaps the bigger lesson here is that fortunes are often built by owning things people constantly use. And while cash may eventually decline, one thing never will: attention. Every business wants to be seen. Every company wants customers. And for that reason, advertising remains incredibly valuable, because every day, millions of people drive past signs they barely notice. Yet someone owns those signs, and someone gets paid every time a business rents that space. Which brings us to our next business, a business built on one of the world's most valuable assets: human attention. Number 2, billboard advertising. Imagine owning a piece of land that earns money simply because people drive past it. That is essentially the billboard business. At first, it sounds almost unbelievable, yet companies spend billions of dollars every year trying to capture attention, because attention has become one of the most valuable commodities in the world. And billboards own attention. Thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of people may pass a location every single day, and businesses are willing to pay significant amounts of money for that visibility. This is why some strategic billboard locations become incredibly valuable assets. What's fascinating is that many billboard owners do not even own massive advertising companies. Some simply own land. Others lease small parcels of land near highways and install billboards. Once contracts are signed, the income can become remarkably passive. And this creates another recurring theme we keep seeing. The wealthy often make money from assets, not effort. A billboard does not sleep. It works 24 hours a day, during economic booms, during recessions, during holidays. It simply continues attracting attention. There is also another hidden layer to this business. The underlying land itself may appreciate over time, meaning owners can potentially benefit from both cash flow and increasing asset value. This is one reason why so many wealthy investors love infrastructure businesses, because they often provide multiple ways to win. But perhaps the most fascinating thing about attention is this. It no longer exists only in the physical world. Today, billions of people spend hours every day scrolling websites, watching videos, and searching for information online. And wherever human attention goes, money follows. This has created an entirely new form of real estate, one that requires no highways, no buildings, no physical land, yet it can still generate income day and night. Because some of the most valuable pieces of property in the modern world are not found on maps, they exist on the internet. Which brings us to our final business, a business that has quietly created countless millionaires. Number 1. Digital real estate. In 1994, there were only a few thousand websites on the internet. Today, there are billions. And just as physical land became valuable because people needed places to live and work, digital land became valuable because people need information, attention, traffic, and customers. This gave birth to something many investors now call digital real estate, niche websites, online directories, affiliate platforms, lead generation sites, simple pieces of digital property that continue attracting visitors year after year. And perhaps one of the greatest examples of this principle is Jeff Bezos. Before Amazon became the giant we know today, Bezos understood a powerful truth. The internet was becoming the new infrastructure of commerce. Those who controlled digital attention would possess extraordinary advantages. Today, companies spend billions of dollars trying to attract online traffic, because traffic can be monetized in countless ways. Advertising, affiliate commissions, lead generation, digital products, subscriptions, and unlike many traditional businesses, digital assets can often be built with relatively low capital. One useful website can continue generating income for years, sometimes with minimal maintenance. Of course, building digital assets requires patience. Traffic takes time. Search rankings take time. Trust takes time. But once momentum begins to build, the economics can become incredibly attractive. Some website owners earn money while sleeping, while traveling, even while working on entirely different projects, because the asset itself continues operating. And perhaps that is why digital real estate has become one of the most powerful wealth-building opportunities of the modern era. Because if this entire list has taught us anything, it is this. Wealth rarely comes from chasing excitement. It rarely comes from following trends. More often, it comes from owning assets that quietly solve problems, capture attention, and continue producing value long after the work has been done. The world calls these businesses boring. Investors call them opportunities. Because fortunes are often built not by doing extraordinary things, but by owning ordinary systems that people depend on every single day. And perhaps that is the greatest secret of wealth. The businesses that look the least exciting are sometimes the ones quietly making the most money. Perhaps that is the greatest irony of all. While the world is distracted by flashy lifestyles, viral trends, and promises of getting rich overnight, some of the wealthiest people are quietly buying laundromats, storage facilities, parking lots, websites, and other businesses that most people completely ignore. Because real wealth is often boring. It is built patiently, system by system, asset by asset, year after year. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because in our next video, we're going even deeper. We're going to explore 10 powerful businesses you can start with surprisingly little money. Some of these businesses can be started from home. Some require little more than a laptop and an internet connection. And a few have quietly created millionaires despite requiring far less capital than most people imagine. One of them may completely change the way you think about making money. So if you don't want to miss that, subscribe now, because your first real asset may cost far less than you think. Until then, remember, the goal is not simply to work for money. The goal is to build systems and own assets that make money work for you.